Welcome back. We're now moving on to our segment, which is the Picks of the Week, where we talk about any movies, TV shows, games that we've been playing or watching, and to let you guys and girls, the audience, know what we're doing, so you may be interested as well to watch or play such games that we talk about, or movies. So without further ado, Chris, what has been tickling your taste buds this week?
I knew you were going to pick me first. I haven't played a lot of this game. I just started it, but I'm really excited about it. Partly because Caitlin, my oldest daughter, is the one who told me about it. But it's this new release on the Nintendo Switch called Moon. Have you guys ever heard of this game before?
Not until I read the outline.
I thought you were talking about the movie starring. Shit, God, I'm so bad with names today.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Talking about him.
Have you guys seen it?
I could picture him. I can't remember what he's called.
Yes, it's a fantastic movie.
He was the bad guy in Iron Man 2?
Yeah, 2.
Sam Rockwell.
That's it.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell. Great movie.
Yeah. That is a fantastic movie. I love Sam Rockwell. But no, I am talking about Moon. This is a video game. It was never before released in the United States. So this is the very first time. It was released originally in 1997 on the PlayStation. And it's kind of known, and even I think the Kenichi Nishi is the basically the original director designer of the game, but he called it like an anti-RPG where there's really like no combat in the game. It looks fantastic. It's like a 2D style of game. But just the sprites and the art are really, really well done. It's a trip, man. Like this, it's very self-aware. It pokes fun and parodies a lot of kind of your like a stereotypical, JRPG style of games. You start the game off, it's like a game within a game. Like your character is playing this RPG, and the sprites are awesome. They're just really, really big. I try to think back and think of like what I would have thought of this game back in '97 on the PlayStation, and just visually, like I think it looks so fantastic. And this actually ties into our feature discussion that we're going to be having later on a little bit too. But you play through that opening bit, that kind of game within a game, and you get to the point where your mom like basically tells you it's time for bed. So your character turns off the game. It's called the game station, but it looks just like a PlayStation in there. It looks really funny. And he goes to sleep. But somehow the game station turns back on and this game pops back on and somehow sucks the character into the game itself. So now the main character is basically in that game, in that universe. And you're basically just trying to kind of figure out like what's going on. But it's really interesting. I'm very early into the game. I've only maybe about 45 minutes or so into it, but I still wanted to kind of talk about it, just to get it out there. But it's really an interesting style of game, where it's kind of eschews the whole combat and everything. And you're supposed to be kind of like spreading love and like joy and positivity into the world. It's an interesting, take on, a RPG. Apparently Undertale took a lot of inspiration from this game.
I was going to say that. And everybody knows Undertale.
Right. And I guess the original creator even, has publicly said that they took it from this game. And Caitlin has been playing this a bunch too. So it's been kind of fun. She was actually over here earlier today and we were kind of talking about the game and everything. And we actually started playing it a little bit, but I love the way the backgrounds and the environments are done. It's interesting because they look like they're pixel based, but they also somehow have sometimes it looks like a watercolor.
It looks pre-rendered.
Yeah, it looks pre-rendered, but it's done it has like almost like an oil painting or style of like look to it. And I found that
reminds me. I mean, if anybody's never seen it, if you think of like how Final Fantasy 8, maybe 9, and more than anything, I think of Silver that was on the Dreamcast and PC.
Oh yeah.
How the characters are very clearly not part of the world they're running around in, but it's not so jarring as those. This blends it a little better.
Yeah.
It looks like honestly the world could be something out of the Rayman games.
It does.
because
It's
of how
just
curved it is and everything.
Yeah, it's like really kind of almost deformed in such a way. And I just the it has really cool like character portraits, just like little things that pop up. The way the a lot of the designs of some of the enemies look like they could be a summon from like Final Fantasy VII or something like that. You know, like you could see it's very open and unabashed even of like the stuff that it's kind of pulling from the stereotypical JRPGs and stuff that have come before it. It's just very self-aware. The writing is really well done. I don't know.
Oh boy!
I don't know who.
I just looked it up on eBay, and some psycho's trying to sell the original version for $3,500.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's because of it just came out, or if this game is like really worth a ton of money. But
that's asking price. Yeah.
I'm happy that this was localized and released on the Switch. It's a perfect game for the Switch. It's only like $18 too. It's
okay.
Fairly, it's still like that sub 20 kind of budget price. So I definitely suggest you guys go play this because it seems to be very interesting so far, and I'm really looking forward to jumping into it some more. I think I'm going to play it more before I jump into Control, Graham.
Oh, you son of a gun.
I mean, that's just the adult way of handling RPGs. If you don't tackle it immediately, it's never happening.
True.
Exactly.
But just by reading your description on our outline, I have bought a game on the Switch.
Jesus Christ.
It isn't a podcast until Graham buys something that we've...
Yeah, right.
I read it in the outline. I was like, that sounds interesting. I went to the store on the Switch. It's like, oh, it's pretty cheap. And then I looked at it. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy this. This seems like my kind of cup of tea. Scotty, what is your pick of the week?
Since we recorded last, I haven't done much, but I did get to watch Bill and Ted Face the Music. That just came out. Brand new movie. They released it digitally because COVID, and they want to actually get it out to people. Bill and Ted 1 and 2, that came out, well, first one was like 80 something, and the second one I think was 90s. I don't remember. Should have looked that up.
It was like 89 and 91 or something like that. It was like the first one was right at the end of the 80s.
89 for Bill and Ted 1.
And I think the second one is like right at the
Bogus Journey.
Okay.
89, he said.
89 and 92 for Bogus Journey.
92. Okay. That was close.
Okay. That makes sense. Yes, this, I mean, it's a gamble to make a sequel to a beloved franchise. I would argue that Bill and Ted is one of the more cultural, impactful movies of that time that wasn't a horror movie or wasn't adventure, not Star Wars thing, because everybody says be excellent to each other. But yeah, Bill and Ted 3, for those that have no idea, it's Bill and Ted. They have to write the perfect song to save the universe, essentially. Their daughters are in it now, and they have to travel through time to do this sort of thing. I can't say a whole lot without spoiling, but it was just good vibes, good positive energy all around. There were some jokes that really fell flat, and there's a character that I kind of thought was dumb, but I won't say anything about that. Spoilers, there's eventually an assassin that's trying to get Bill and Ted, and he is basically the PlayStation 5 in human form, the way that he looks, because he is white with like glowing blue parts.
Wow.
And no, but it's good. It's fun. There's musical references here and there, and there's references to the other movies here and there. The guy who played Death, and I can't remember his name, was the bad guy in Die Hard 2, is awesome.
William Sadler.
Yes. Yep. He's back. It's fun. It's a good movie. It's a positive movie. It's definitely what people need right now. And I almost honestly teared up at the end because of just the happy feeling that it is as a movie. It's just as goofy and go lucky as the other ones. I was really afraid.
Do you feel it captures the same vibe of the first two movies?
It's hard to do that because those movies are very much from their era.
Mm-hmm.
And like this one it could have been referential to the nth degree, but it's not. Okay. But I think it's just a fun, clueless thing and it is. I lost my train of thought now. Phooey.
I'll ask you this: how well do you think Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves were able to jump back into those characters?
That's kind of what I was going to say, because the trailer, it really made it look like Keanu was phoning it in, and only Alex Winter was trying to be Bill again. But as you go on, it's pretty great, and there is a lot more of just their cluelessness and their goofy characters. I think because that's the thing with Bill and Ted is everybody says Keanu is the same character in every movie, like since The Matrix, and like they'll say like Constantine essentially is Matrix 4 and stuff like that. But if you go back to Bill and Ted, like that was the role that he was just totally different from anything else he's done. I think it's not as strong as in this one, but you do still believe that he is that same character. That's right. And it's fun. It's just it was short. It's only an hour and a half. I think they could have honestly made it another 15 or half an hour long. My only solid complaint is the ending feels very abrupt. No spoilers again, but it's a good time, and part of me kind of hopes they don't go anywhere else with it. But if you read through the credits, the way things are named, they're probably going to try another one. Ooh. I'd be fine if this was the end, though. But okay. I will say overall, I will be happy when this gets a Blu-ray release to add, because I have Bill and Ted 1 and 2. I will happily add this to my collection the Bill and Ted trilogy. So I dug it. It was a good time.
How is it without George Carlin in it, who played Rufus?
It's sad that he's not there. I think they respectfully include him, and it's actually kind of a plot point that he's even in it, so to speak. Okay. They didn't go full Star Wars or anything with this. Thank God. And actually, his real life daughter is in the film somewhere. Okay. I don't know what she looks like, so I didn't know who to look for, but she is actually in the film.
Cool. And cool. To be honest, I don't know much about the movie because I've tried to stay away from trailers and stuff, because this is one of those movies I know I'm going to see, so I don't need to see the trailers for it. Basically, I don't want any spoilers. However, I have to ask: are the girls in it? You know, the sort of love interests from the original two movies. They're
wives. They're wives. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes. Cool.
I don't think it's the same actresses. Oh, okay. I don't think for sure. But yeah, they're in it. Just about everyone that you would expect. It's a good movie. Okay,
perfect. I'm happy to watch it. That sounds fine.
My final thing on it. It was $20 to rent this. I had no problem paying that much because I enjoyed it.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to get it tonight, but you can purchase it for $25. So I'm just going to buy.
I thought about that, but I was like, I'm going to get this Blu-ray, but I want this movie to do well. So opening weekend is when you got to do that, I guess. So
where for the listeners and everyone, where did you rent it from?
I did the PlayStation Store because it was the easiest to get to.
Okay, cool. So I assume
rather than trying to find out like what app it was on. So
yeah,
I think so.
I want to say before we end that according to IMDb, Bogus Journey was released on July 19th of 1991.
Oh, hello.
So, I'm right. I was right. I said 89 and 91. I just wanted to be on record and correct it.
That's so the Wikipedia thing popped up for me. It said 92. That's weird. Oh, because I'm in the UK. Yeah, it's recognizing I'm in the UK, and it says United Kingdom next to it. I missed that bit. Sorry. Came out in 92 in the UK, so I'm also right. Oh. January 92. Yeah. Right at the start. 3rd of January. Yeah. Like 3 days in to 92, we had it. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm watching it tonight though. I'm super excited about it.
They definitely could have gone a different way with it being 2020 now and being like, oh, but we're not even on Spotify. They don't do stuff like this, so I appreciated that they didn't try to make it topical.
Okay.
Yeah. Those things, they don't hold up. Over time, it might give you a chuckle at the time, when you first watch it, but after a year or two after that,
the amount of movies I've seen from the early 2000s which talk about MySpace and stuff, like as in it's like, oh yeah, we've got on MySpace, or I don't know.
I like it now though.
I find it funny, but I think that people just missed it. Like your kids would just be like, what are they talking about? Like for us, it's kind of like, MySpace, I missed that.
Yeah, the director or writers probably weren't thinking you're going to be laughing at it rather than because of it. But
a prime example of that. Have you guys seen Wreck-It Ralph 2?
Yes,
unfortunately.
That is not going to age well. Give it another 10 years, and that movie will not be as funny as it is now.
Well, right, because like half the like little places they go to may be called something else or be not around and stuff.
I remember watching that and thinking like some jokes when it came out were already kind of old. But that's the risk you run trying to make a movie about the internet. So yeah, but go see it. I think you'll definitely enjoy it, Chris. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I know you'll dig it.
Yeah, I think I know what to expect from this movie. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'm a big fan of Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, and of course these characters are great. So can't wait.
I might look at renting that I've got Monday off. It's a public holiday, so I may actually look at renting it and watching it tomorrow.
Stay through the credits also.
Oh, okay. Post-credit scene.
It doesn't come out in the UK until a year after the US release.
Oh, of course. I forgot about that, yeah. January 2021, I get to watch it. Oh, no. Okay. What was it? Is there any more of that, Scotty?
No, I was pleasantly surprised. I think it might have played it safe, but it still caught me off guard a couple of times, and I really dug it.
Excellent. Perfect. So my pick of the week is Advent Rising, which we've mentioned a couple of times on the show before. As long-term watchers of the show, or recent long-term watchers of the show, will know that Frisk convinced me to buy Advent Rising, and we've actually since been streaming it on Friday nights. We're probably about halfway through. I don't know, Chris, you played the game before. I haven't. But that's my pick of the week this week because I've been really digging it. We've played it. We've had I think it's only 3 live streams of it, but we're playing a couple of hours at a time each time, so about 6 hours into the game. I'm loving it. If you don't know about it, it was released in 2005 on the original Xbox and also the PC, and in 2006 it was actually released on Steam. I didn't realize it'd been on Steam that long actually until I googled it earlier. And it's one of those games that we've spoken about it before, how it feels like it's taken inspiration from some big shooters of the time, especially Halo, and partly in this sort of sci-fi setting, and sort of the human race is basically on the verge of extinction, and also just like the aesthetics and the weapons they use, they're kind of very Halo-esque. And the epic's also orchestral soundtrack that's used in it. But we've got to a certain point in the game where it's separated quite far away from Halo now. In fact, I was comparing it to Control, the modern game that's on the Xbox One and PS4 and stuff, because essentially you unlock these powers so you can like levitate enemies and items and stuff and throw them around, and it gets really badass. You are basically like a Jedi in the game, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's got I think the storyline's really good actually. It's it's not a groundbreaking storyline, it's quite a generic sort of sci-fi storyline, but it's entertaining and enjoyable enough. I think the good twist in it is the fact that humans were almost a godlike species several hundred thousands of years ago, or whatever, and an alien race sort of worshipped us effectively, and then we're on Earth and we've sort of lost those powers and abilities, and we're using technology more and more. But this alien race is basically helping us to unlock those abilities again, but another race is kind of attacking us and trying to wipe us out. So that's kind of a little bit different, and I'm really digging the storyline. I think it's got some really impressive cutscenes, especially for its time, and there's some really cool actiony scenes. It's got a terrible early 2000s sort of script, and I love it. It's just so bad dialogue. Oh wow, it's like, the kind of like the
give me a line. What's a good line?
I kind of.
His girlfriend has a lot of bad one-liners.
Yeah, his girlfriend's got really terrible one-liners. Wow.
But it's not that the voice acting is bad, because one of the guys, the main character that voices the main character, I guess, was also in Batman Beyond.
He is Batman from Batman Beyond, basically.
Okay. And so it's funny because a lot of the guys in the stream are like, I can't stop hearing like Batman talking when I'm watching this. Which is really funny, but the voice acting itself I think is fine. It's just the dialogue, like what they had to read, is just very bad.
Yeah, it kind of works though. It's one of those ones that it feels like it's
Kevin Conroy.
Okay, is that the
That he is Batman, Batman Beyond, and Batman the Animated Series, and the Arkham Asylum, Arkham
okay.
stuff game.
I'm just
he
double
is Batman.
checking.
Animated Batman.
Price's role as
That's like Did you guys play the first Doom?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The first Doom, Samuel Hayden is voiced by someone who sounds like exactly like Optimus Prime's voice, but it's not that same voice actor. But that's all I could hear is just Optimus Prime talking to me the whole time.
God, I wish I could have that every day of my life.
Yeah.
I think.
What are you looking up there, Graham?
I'm actually looking. I don't think that is the voice actor.
Peter Cullen is Optimus Prime, though. I wanted to make sure I mentioned his name.
Why is this not coming up? So there's a guy called Will Friedle, who is also he plays second Batman or something.
Is it Vidal? Vidal?
Is Stephen Marks the main guy you play as? Stefan Marks, whatever.
No,
is
it's
it Will
Gideon, isn't it?
It says Will Friedle as Terry McGinnis, the second Batman, under the pretense of doing errands for Bruce. Terry fights to find him as the new Batman. Batman. I'm just actually going to quickly go to IMDb now because this is now going to bug me. We'll probably have to cut this out of the show.
I was thinking you meant who is Bruce. So
sorry,
that is Terry McGinnis. Yeah.
And was he? Yes, he is the guy from Advent Rising. Gideon Wyeth is the main character. So yes, the new Batman from Batman Beyond is the voice.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So
what I already said.
They've got some really good actors in this, and the acting is fine. It's just the script it feels like an early 2000s kind of teen American movie kind of script kind of thing, if that makes sense. But in a futuristic sci-fi setting, so it doesn't really work. But at the same time, it's just funny. It's fine. I'm enjoying it. I think it's great. And as I say, Chris and I are playing through it on Twitch every Friday night at the moment. But Chris, have you got, because you've been watching me play it and you played it originally, have you got any thoughts? Is it bringing back good memories for you, or how
it is? I played this when it came out, and I haven't really picked it up since. So this is bringing back a lot of memories for me that I forgot about this game. But one of the coolest things about it, and that I'm really enjoying seeing it a lot, is how the game handles you unlocking your new abilities, because it doesn't all just happen at once. Like, it's as you coming, like something will trigger your character and it like somehow unlocks it. That part is just kind of an afterthought. They don't really do a lot to explain like why he's unlocking these new abilities or anything like that. They're just kind of coming to him. But as you get that, and as it unlocks new ways of like gameplay and new mechanics and things like that, I remember playing it for the first time and thought that aspect of the game was so awesome, because I felt like my character was becoming a god in itself. You know, it's like Graham said, it's kind of like a Jedi. But just seeing you go from this like little, space pilot, and now he's fucking like making shit like levitate and stuff. And what's awesome, he's got like these like missiles that he can shoot out, like these
plasma sort of
ion pulse or something.
Yeah.
But you can also, and you assign those to your like right hand and left hand. And you can mix and match it, which is really cool too. So you can have like a magic, I guess, spell, if you want to call it that, or power in one hand, and then hold a gun in the other. So you can like have a power where you can make someone levitate, and then you can hold them up in the air, and as you can like use it to shoot him with a gun, which is pretty crazy. Or you can use that same ability to hold them up, and then you can shoot like aeon pulses into them. And there's another one where you could throw someone, so it's kind of like a force push in a way. But there's this outside scene where you actually have to go in space, this kind of like spacewalk, and all these enemies are coming at you. But Graham was just flinging them into deep space. Like, it was like, we were joking because it's the most like dangerous platform ever, for just like, if you look at just the logistics of sending people out to walk on this platform with no railings at all. Like, it Death Star looked like, like it passed all the OSHA inspections, because this is just way worse.
Yeah.
And so he's flinging them off like left and right, and they can't do anything. It's the most easy, silly level in any video game I've seen, because it's just he just walks and just flings them anytime someone comes in, they just fly into deep space. And I'm just thinking, like, oh my god, this is such a crazy level.
Yeah.
Murdering.
Please go back and clip that if you haven't, Graham.
I was trying to clip it, but I guess I wasn't logged into my browser that I was watching, so it wouldn't let me clip it. And so I don't know if we're able to do that after the fact, but if you can, it's certainly worth. Okay, Graham, we got to do that because it is totally worth it. Oh, and then I forgot the best part.
Yeah,
we find out one of the bosses is literally called Barack Obama.
Oh God!
Yeah,
the thing is, it's weird. This game came out in 2005 before Obama was president or before any of that stuff. So I don't. They couldn't have named this character after him.
It's a different spelling, but when you read it out loud, it does say Barack Obama. Basically, it's really
it's like Barack, like Obama or something like Obama. It's weird, but when you say it phonetically, it's like says Barack Obama. It's weird, really crazy. And when he
wasn't even senator until he was senator in 2005.
Yeah.
So unless somebody's from like Illinois that made that game and really love him,
I can't imagine they would do that over a senator. But I think it is just a weird coincidence. I don't see how anyone else could do it, but because it had nothing to do with the person Barack Obama. It was actually a pretty neat boss battle, I thought, too, Greg.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's because so far the boss battles haven't been that good. Like, they're very easy, and this was actually one I think I died like 4 times trying to actually beat this. I couldn't tell if it was meant to be a girl or a guy. But it's an alien. It's basically a space alien, so I guess gender's not really. I don't know. We have to admit though, too, Graham, that we've had to go to a walkthrough on. Yeah, so on that boss battle, I was basically standing there just shooting this thing from a distance because I had a shield power, like I was on high behind the shield, and it didn't seem to be hurting the boss at all. So I was like, dude, this is going to take ages. May as well just like look at a guide. And so Chris started looking at guides, and there was another. That's the one other thing. This is almost like a complaint about the game. It doesn't really tell you where to go. Like, the objective will be like, go meet up with this person. It's like, where is that person? I literally no freaking clue. And like, I basically walked up to this like bridge area of the ship and like was killing everything. We got there and there's like no buttons to press or anything. It's like, what do we do now? Go back to where we just came from basically and meet up with this guy who was with us fighting everybody and then just disappeared. But it's just like this weird bit. Like, so I was like walking around. I was like, started going back, and I was like, this can't be the way I've got to go. I've got to be something back on the bridge. So that's one complaint. There's been a few times we've got lost. And so Chris again had to look at the guide for that. He's like, go back, go down this corridor. I was like, I've just come from there. And then another door happened to open or something. But it's like, there's no way to know that's going to happen. There's no cutscene to show you this door is now open, or the guide to go, come on, follow me back this way, or something like that. So that's one complaint. But it's really cool. When you get the powers, there's like a pulse power, which is literally sort of just this weird pulse shockwave thing. And there's a bit where these ships come in and like start attacking you on the speech. But I was just standing like it was funny. Chris was like, oh yeah, by the way, you can like totally like push those rockets back at the ships. And I thought he was joking because Chris always says stuff to mess with me. And I was like, no way. And then I did it and it worked. I was just like, this is awesome. It's like, like just firing these missiles back at them. I thought that was really cool. So it's a fun game.
Going for it. Like I would love for this series to have continued. I think, like, especially if they could have if they could have polished the game, because that's really what I think the game's lacking. Just polish. Like, for instance, like they need to have some sort of waypoint system in this to kind of like show you where you're supposed to be going. That's the kind of polish that I'm talking about, is just like going in and fixing those type of things. And that's what, that makes this game the difference between like, being a second or third tier, shooter, and being like a Halo or something like that. That's like, a legit AAA game. It just doesn't have that. But if they could have, put the money into it, if this game was a success, and because this was a planned trilogy, and so they could have done, Advent. I can't remember what it wasn't going to be. Advent Rising 2. It was Advent and then something.
Okay.
And else.
Risen.
But yeah, Advent still rising. But I think they could have done some really cool stuff and continued to build upon the gameplay mechanics and everything else. It's just a shame that it basically tanked, and we've got this one game, and we'll never see anything.
I'd actually love to see a remake of this game. To be honest, I just think it'd be pretty awesome with modern technology and everything.
Everything you guys say about it and maybe it's because you get God mode essentially, just reminds me so much of my experience with Resistance 2 on the PS3, because that's how that game ends, is you become a god. And really? You're like, there's just enemies coming at you, and you're literally like going like this, and just them and their guns and bullets just fly to the right. And it's just, and then I love that game, played the shit out of the co-op. The third one came out, and it was just like clearly meeting financial ends. They had to make this game because they were legally required to at that point, but it just fell so far off.
Did it continue the powers or?
No, do you care about spoilers?
I don't care. It's an old game now. I actually own Resistance 1 and 2, but I've never played
Resistance 1 and 2. You play the character you play as at the end of the second game. One of the members of your squad shoots him and kills him. That's the last scene, is the main character dies in Resistance 2. So a lot of it was like, how are you going to make the next game? And so it was really hyped up. And it always bums me out because everything that Gears of War does with the alien race and stuff is so similar to Resistance. So I feel like if Sony had done it the right way, they honestly could have competed against Microsoft's Gears of War series. I always had so much more fun with Resistance, but it sounds very similar to a lot of things with this. And the plot was just a cool idea. Instead of World War II, an alien race shows up. So you have to use these old guns and old technology against aliens.
Yeah. So I like the idea of Resistance. I have it on the PlayStation 3, and I played a little. I just said I didn't play it, but I played a little bit of Resistance 1. But at the same time, I had, what's the other? Killzone. I had Killzone. I basically, because I got my PS3 later, I got loads of games with it quite cheap. And I just thought Killzone was a better game. So I started playing Resistance. I was like, not enjoying this that much. So I played Killzone.
The first one's
way good.
Rough. First one's rough. Second one's great. And the first one has a co-op campaign. The second one has a different co-op campaign. Servers are not up for any longer in those. But to give you an idea of how intense we were into those, we had 2 TVs set up in my apartment during college and playing online with other people during this co-op mode.
Wow.
And like there were like 6 people in our living room playing this game because you could split it up 3 ways on one TV and then be playing online.
That's cool.
But I just love that game so much, and I feel like it's similar to Chris's love for this series, how it just unfortunately went nowhere, but was so strong at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it sounds like something I should definitely try.
Yeah. Well, come and join us on a Friday night. Check us out.
I can. You guys play when I'm in the middle of my work.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we finish it like it's like 5 or 6. No, normally 6 o'clock UK time. So it's like 1 o'clock your time, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's just have a bathroom break.
For 2 hours.
Yeah. Hop on. It's like, I've got a problem, boss.
Chris, you're muted. You're muted. What were you saying?
I was just saying, get your phone and like sit it next to your computer monitor and just have the stream going.
I mean, I could watch and listen to you guys while I'm working, but I just would not be able to actually contribute to anything.
That's fine. Just do that.
Or when you get it, go back and watch the streams.
I should.
One of these days. Yeah. It's fun. I think it has enough good stuff going for it that it's worth a playthrough, especially if you're a Halo fan, because I think there's you can see where they took inspiration from Halo, and I think it's just really neat to kind of experience that, to see like what other developers at the time were trying to replicate with their own games, while Halo was this juggernaut in the game industry. Because around this time, man, if you weren't like Halo was everything. This was before, like Modern Warfare got big, before any other big shooters today. Halo was like at the top of the game. And this is like Advent Rising. This is like a game that they were trying to tell more of a campaign. They were way focused on a campaign. This was not had anything to do with like any multiplayer, but they were just trying to tell like a really captivating sci-fi story and like an epic on a huge scale and create this new series that they were hoping, would be on the level of a Halo. And it just never reached that point for them,
Sad.